Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's Whitney with That Whitney Life. I like to do easy DIYs that are also super easy on your pocketbook. In this video, I have some really easy, really cute Easter DIYs for you that are all Dollar Tree. So without further ado, let's jump into it. DIY number one, I'm taking 3 of these arrows from the Dollar Tree wedding section. It says gifts and ceremony. I'm just going to pull off the stand on them and give them a bit of a clean. They were kind of dusty. And then I'm going to give them 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint and linen white. Now this is one of the egg garden stakes from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to pull the stake off. I only need the stake for this part. I'm going to glue these little arrows right on to that stake with a large dollop of Gorilla Glue. I tried to make them as even as possible, and I also tried to cover up the little tears. When I took the stake off of the egg, it tore up some of that white. It was nice not to have to paint the stake, but it did tear some of that white up, so I did need to position these arrows so it would cover that up. Now I'm just taking some brown acrylic paint and then my Art Minds chalk paint and onyx, just mixing them together until I get the color that I want. The brown that I was using is a little bit too light for me, so it's almost rusty, so I wanted to add a little bit of black into it just to darken it up a bit so I could distress with a darker brown. I think it turned out well. Then I used my Cricut and I cut out Egg Hunt, Bunny Trails, and Carrot Patch. I have the oldest Cricut known to man. I think it was made in 2006. Pretty sure it was the first model they ever made. It was given to me. It was free. Beggars can't be choosers. But I think this is the only font that I can do. You have to buy overlays, and since it's pretty much obsolete, they're so expensive. The little cartridges and the overlays, so expensive. So I just need to get a new Cricut, but you know, it works fine. So work with what you have. Now I'm just taking little greenery bits and some little flowers and gluing them on the little arrows. I was going to do, originally I was thinking I wanted to do like carrots on the Carrot Patch one, and then I just didn't have enough space left over on these arrows to do that. So I decided that greenery and florals are the next best thing, and I think it turned out way cute. So with the Egg Hunt one, since Egg Hunt, the words are shorter than like Bunny Trails or Carrot Patch, there was a little extra room, and so I did have to fill that in. And then I was looking at it, I'm like, well, it's pretty uneven. So I did add another flower and some extra greenery on the other parts of the sign. Make sure you're keeping all those little bits because they do come in handy sometimes. I probably keep more little bits than I should, because I always I'll keep a tiny scrap of fabric or a tiny scrap of ribbon, and I'll be like, yes, I'm going to use that one day. A project will come up where I'm going to need a little tiny piece of fabric. And it never does. So, but keep your bits of greenery and florals. Now I'm going to make this hangable, so I'm just gluing a piece of jute twine to the back of it, kind of in an arc shape. And that's it for this sign. I absolutely love this. I can't wait to hang it up. I don't really know where I'm going to hang it up yet, but it's definitely going up because I think it's just adorable, and I'm so excited to get decorating for Easter. DIY number 2 is I'm going to take this wastebasket from the Dollar Tree, use some wire cutters, and just cut the top of it off. Cut down as much as you want. I cut about 1/3 of the way. That's about how big I wanted it. And now I'm taking some nautical cotton rope and just gluing it around. I'm going to try to cover where I cut it the best I can. And then I'm just going to continue to go around and around and around and around until the whole thing is covered. It is much easier to do this when you flip the wastebasket upside down. I was about halfway through when I realized that was easier, so just a tip from me to you. This is what you should have when it is done. And then I'm taking some paper bags. I'm going to cut it down halfway lengthwise. You can use plastic bags. It'd probably be easier. But I do live in Oregon, and plastic bags are banned here, so we don't have plastic bags. So I'm using paper. Then I'm going to take some floral moss, cover that all up with floral moss, and put some eggs and carrots in there, just wherever I see fit. And then I'm taking this egg topiary from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to place some of the eggs in there. I'm playing around with everything. See what I like. It's never one and done. You can play around with anything. I put all the eggs in there, and then I realized that blue and pink one is a tiny bit too much for what I'm going for. It's a little vibrant. So I did take that out and just piled some carrots and eggs in there. And then I took this Easter greeting sign and carefully with a paint scraper took the galvanized bunny off of it. Glued that right on the front with just little dabs of glue. I didn't want to use too much because I don't know if I want this to be permanent. I might want to use this basket for maybe another DIY or a different season, or maybe just as regular home decor. So don't use too much hot glue. I just did a little dab on the top and a little dab on the bottom, held it in place until it dried. And I did leave the bow on there. I like the bow. And here's how it turned out. I love this. I think it's so cute. I do want to play around with the carrots and everything in the top of it. They kind of got messed up when I was moving it around. But I absolutely, look how cute that flippin' bunny is. I love this little basket. I'm so excited to put it in my house. DIY number 3, I'm using this Dollar Tree Truck Topiary sort of sign, cutting everything off of it. I'm using my craft knife to score and get as much of this off as I can. I've seen people use a saw to get them off, which is probably a lot easier than an X-Acto knife, but this is what I had, and it is what it is. So you just score it until you can break it, and it doesn't take too long. And now I'm taking a scraper, and I'm just going to scrape the glitter off the best I can. You're not going to get all of it off. I mean, there are ways to get all of it off. You can use Goo Gone and stuff like that. I just wasn't really concerned about that. Now I'm filling in all the holes with lightweight spackling, sanding off the excess. I'm going to give it 2 coats of Folk Art chalk paint in Glacier. I love this color so much. I did get a little impatient because it was game day and I had about 30 minutes until the game started to get this painted. So I did go ahead with my blow dryer. I love how quickly that speeds up the process, but yes, I was in a bit of a hurry. I did not want to miss opening pitch. And if you have gathered anything about me by now, it is that I am a huge Oregon State Beaver fan. So now I'm using Folk Art chalk paint in Parisian Gray, and I'm going to do the wheel wells, I think they're called. I'm not super versed in car parts, but I'm going to call them wheel wells. And also the hubcaps. I'm going to do those in the Parisian Gray as well. Again, using my blow dryer in between to speed up the process. Doing 2 coats of that gray. This is a really nice gray too. I love Folk Art paints. I think they're just so good, and they dry really fast too. They always dry a little bit darker though, just keep that in mind. Now I'm using a detail brush and using my Art Minds chalk paint in Onyx and just carving out where I feel like the wheel should be, I guess. And then switching to a different brush, just filling that in with black. I love this chalk paint a lot. I really only need 1 coat. It covers really well, dries super fast. It is a distressing chalk paint, so it is very thick. Just keep that in mind, but it is really good. Now I'm just doing a line of glue and adding bits of boxwood to the back of my truck in kind of a crisscross motion, so it looks like it was sort of thrown in the back, I guess. Then some little white flowers I'm clipping off and putting those on, and then some blue hydrangea flowers. And then I'm also going to use some little yellow flowers as well. These are all from the Dollar Tree. The boxwood, I believe, is from Joann's. And then I wanted a little bit of height. It just looked a little flat to me. So I ended up gluing this piece of boxwood on, and then I was like, it looks kind of funky because it's just like one spot, it just has this sprout of boxwood. So I took that off, cut it down, and then glued 2 sprigs with a large dollop of hot glue on the back of this just to give it some height. And then I went to my Cricut and I cut out flowers. And then I also cut out 25 cents. I don't have any supplies at all for my Cricut, so I'm using my paint scraper to put this on. I literally only have transfer tape and black and white vinyl, but you got to work with what you have. And here's how it turned out. I love this truck so much. It matches perfectly in my home. I did do one similar to it, and I didn't actually realize how similar they were until I put the two together, and I was like, ooh, but I love them both. This next DIY is so easy. This is a no-sew pillow that I made a couple years ago. They're super easy to make. You can find tutorials on them. Way easy. This is the felt bunny garland from the Dollar Tree. I'm just taking the blue one and the yellow one, and I'm just going to glue these down on the pillow. I wasn't super worried about not being able to get them off and reusing this pillow. On the other side of this pillow, there's actually a heart that I sewed on. And I have a video on that as well for Valentine's Day. And it's just sewn on. So I was thinking, well, if I really want to use this pillow for, everyday decor, I could just take that heart off. But it's not a big deal. Like I said, this is just a super easy no-sew pillow. And then I'm taking this little ribbon from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to make little bows. I'm just folding it over on itself twice to have one loop on either side. And then I'm going to cut that down, and then I'm going to cut a piece for the tail. And then I'm going to take a piece of jute twine and tie it together. That's really it for this bow. Like, they're so easy to make. Cut down everything, cut the tails as short as you want. I wanted the tails to be pretty short since the bunny was so small. Go ahead and glue those on. I made one for each of them, and here's how it turned out. I think it's so flipping cute. See the holes in the top of the head? It just kind of bothers me, but I think these are just so dang cute. And for a freaking $1, like, you can't get much better than that. I love this. I'm so excited to put it in my house for Easter. It was so easy to do and costed pennies. Last DIY, I'm using this large glittery egg. It has these little, like, rolled up plastic iridescent pieces on it. I don't know what material it is, but it's not glitter. I'm just going to take all that off. I'm trying to scrape it off, and I am going to save it because it makes really good like sprinkles on fake desserts. So I'm going to use it for that. And then I'm just going to cut the tag off, and I'm going to glue some nautical rope on it. I'm starting with a coil at the top, and then I'm just going to continue wrapping the egg. I'm only going to go about a third of the way because I want this to be a two-toned egg. This is not my original idea. I got this from Megan from Glue Guns and Roses. I love her channel so much. If you don't watch her, you absolutely should. Do yourself a favor. She has such good ideas. So I saw her do this and I wanted one, so I figured I would do it too. Hers was solid though. I'm going to do mine two-tone. I'm adding some cotton nautical rope about another third of the way, and then I'm going to fill or cover the rest of the egg with more regular nautical rope, and doing that same little coil thing at the top using a lot of hot glue. I just cut the excess off and put a big dollop of hot glue and just kind of shoved it in there. And then I wanted to cover up the seams, so I'm using this Dollar Tree ribbon, and I'm just going to glue that around the seams of this so you can't see it. I'll just cover it up, make it look more high-end, but I love this. I'm definitely making 2 more. I think it looks so high-end. I'm so excited about this. I think I want to put this in like a tiered tray or something like that. I think it'll look nice in a tiered tray. I do want to make 2 more because I absolutely love this. That is everything I have for you in this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. My Instagram handle is in the description box, so make sure you follow me there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. God bless.